My name is Charlie Alleman. I've been a member here for 48 years, and my role here right now is the driver and chairman of the Apparatus Committee. I had two uncles that were fire policemen here, and I had just getting ready to turn 18, and they said we used to have family get-togethers every Saturday night at my dad's mom and dad's, my grandparents. And they said, "Why don't you join the fire company?" And I said, "Why?" And they said, "You can be a fire policeman. We need fire policemen." And I was like, I could probably do that. So I joined in October 1974. The night of the meeting, we had an automatic fire alarm, which at that time was pretty uncommon. And we only ran 33 fire calls that year. So to have an alarm on meeting night was pretty amazing. And we had probably 50, 55 people there at the meeting. And an automatic fire alarm come in, and they were like, "Why don't you go ahead and ride in the back of the tanker?" I was like, "I don't have any coats or anything." They said, "Well, you don't need them." So I got on the tanker, drove a block and a half to the automatic fire alarm, and came back and backed in, and I was hooked. A lot of ugly things that you see, but a lot of good things. A lot of people still walking around that you helped to save their life. So it's been better than what it has been bad in the long run. Well, I've had a lot of calls that have influenced me. Some in not a good way, and some very good. I did CPR on the same lady 3 different times. Basically did CPR the whole way from Newville, where she lived in the borough, to Carlisle Hospital, and they got her back 3 times. So her family thanked me for saving her. The 4th time she had a heart attack, I was at my job. I wasn't available to go, and she didn't make it, and they were just devastated. That one influenced me pretty badly for a while. I was glad that she had 3 or 4 more years to live, but it wasn't really me that did it. I was just the force that God used. One of my first fire calls that I ever went on, it was actually an incident, what we would call an incident. It was a tractor trailer accident. A guy had run into the back of another tractor trailer and caught on fire. And he was basically just trapped by his ankle between the clutch and the brake of the tractor trailer. Back in those days, they weren't built maybe as strongly or as safely as they are today. But he was just caught by his ankle. We had no rescue tools like we do today. We had chains, come-alongs, pry bars, and we knocked the fire down, but we couldn't put it out. They called more tankers. Till they got there, he ended up burning to death. The age of 18 and a half or 19, that was just about enough to say I'm not strong enough to do this. We had fires where we didn't get there in time to save the people. Other times we did. That's a good feeling to know that, you know, they're going to the hospital and they're breathing and they're alive, and there's a good chance that they're going to be okay. the other hand, it's pretty hard to take when you know you did the best you could and it wasn't good enough. But I think just being able to try to help people and being able to use what I know, my experience, to help young guys learn, teach them to drive. I mean, I've driven tractor trailer for probably 40 years of my life besides the fire trucks. And I got a couple of million miles of safe driving. So, you know, we are obligated. I tell these guys all the time, we're obligated to teach our young people what we know. If it's bad, don't teach them. But sometimes it's good for them to know the bad things so that they realize that that can happen. I just like to help people.